Explore the endless bounds of space with all new LEGO building sets. From engineering wonders like LEGO Technic NASA Apollo Lunar Roving Vehicle to astronaut dog walkers, there is a perfect LEGO set for everyone on Earth. First launched in 1978, space sets have been igniting people's curiosity through the ultimate creative medium of LEGO bricks. Their newest collection is sure to propel the wonder for exploration and adventure across the galaxies. Be inspired by LEGO sets that are out of this world. Visit Amazon.com/LEGO Space to see the full collection.
Welcome to How to Survive with Danielle and Kristine, the show that teaches you how to survive the things that might kill you.
Like a mega drought, or falling through ice, or getting catfished.
And the things that just make you wish you were dead.
Like being in the fifth wheel, or getting crapped on by a bird.
Garen.
Or correcting your boss.
Don't do that.
Also, Garen.
Man, you know what? Play that theme song. I'm getting pissed.
Play it.
Ground is shaking under our feet. Mountains on fire, flooding in the street. Can't breathe the air, can't fight the feeling. Goblin down, Xanax ain't the way to be dealing. Gotta do better than just getting high. We gotta stick together if we're gonna survive. How to survive. How to survive.
Welcome to How to Survive with Danielle and Kristine. I am Danielle.
I'm Kristine.
You had something to talk about today, which I'm excited to hear.
The Queen died.
You're fucking kidding me.
For the listeners who haven't heard.
Yeah. What was your reaction to the Queen dying?
Devastation. It came out of nowhere.
What did she die of? I like someone tweeted, I don't know, I think she was pushed. Which was hysterical.
What I thought was funny, I can't remember if this is New York Times or LA Times, I think it was LA Times, was that it was said the UK is reeling and struggling to re-identify itself
Right.
at this, shock or sort of it's to struggling to find its new identity.
Right.
And I'm like, this can't have come as a surprise. I mean,
I don't think it's that it's a surprise. I think it's just that she's always been their queen. She was their queen for 70 years. So I think it's just, I don't know how it affects people on a day-to-day basis because I don't know what majority of the country are royalists, as they call them.
Yes.
Every time I hear someone talk about the queen, they all think it's fucking ridiculous. I mean, people who live there, not Americans. I don't know why Americans are obsessed. I don't
some
get
Americans are very
obsessed.
very into it.
Yeah. I mean, my tweet was, Jesus. No, I said, geez, you'd think Claire Foy herself had died.
Yeah.
Who played, the queen on The Crown, because to me, she's a national treasure. That would have upset me.
Or
Olivia Colman. I knew Olivia Colman was the more relatable reference, and I knew more people would like it if I did that. But I felt strong in my heart that I wanted it to be
Claire
the first. Claire Foy
is a good one. And next up, we'll have Imelda Staunton, I believe, replacing.
Oh, did she?
I think she's the next actress to play the Crown.
Oh, is she?
In the Crown. I think so.
Because now she's older. Yeah. Right. Okay. I know the name, but I can't picture her.
I think she was in Harry Potter as well.
Oh. Okay.
I think every British actor was in
Almost
Harry Potter.
every. Yeah.
So
yeah.
that doesn't narrow it down.
Yeah.
But
Dudley Moore was, and he's dead. He played a ghost. He played one of the ghosts. He didn't.
all the dead Brits played all the ghosts.
Yeah.
I saw this other headline. I don't think I sent this to you, Danielle, in the LA Times. And so it's a misspelling. It's so I don't know. I know the LA Times is probably struggling and they need some. I kind of want to send them like a Grammarly subscription, but the upgraded one, not the free one.
Oh, okay.
Humanity is at risk. We aren't facing up to it? Question mark.
Okay.
And I was like, are they just? It's all Gen Z staff.
Okay.
We aren't facing up to it?
Have I told you how this is my number one online pet peeve with the question marks? Have I told you that?
I know you don't like. I have to constantly take question marks out of texts that I respond to you with because I often do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be an asshole about it. It's just the constant tweets of people saying, this was supposed to be the best day of my life?
Yes.
But then, I'm like, no, it's not proper. It's just
the grammatical errors abound.
It's not an error. It's a choice. It's like it's a way stylistic choice. But you're right. It's of a
generation.
Yes.
So then I realized it's not supposed to be that way. It says we facing up to it. We facing up to it. It's supposed to say, why aren't we facing up to it?
Oh, that's hysterical.
But it's been
from the LA Times.
But it's been there for 2 days and it still isn't fixed. We facing up to it. Anyway, you know what? We all make mistakes. But it seems like if you're, one of the biggest cities in the United States.
No, it's a very old newspaper. It's a little silly. The other thing about the Queen is that it's so funny to hear. Look, I know there are subtleties to this that I'm not, taking into account, but I think it's very funny to praise a woman for literally not stating her opinion. That's what she never stated her opinion. She was very close to the vest.
Yes.
That's a quality.
So admirable in a woman.
I get that that's what the job is, but
it's also, how is that a job?
I don't know.
Here are some subtle cues. I think that was an article. Here's some subtle cues that let us know what the Queen felt about certain things.
She wore a brooch on her right side. That meant she was displeased.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I've watched 4 seasons of The Crown or whatever it is, and I still don't understand.
Are you ready for today's topic?
I sure am.
We're going to talk about how to survive catfishing.
Oh, this is a good one.
Yes, and I'm not talking about the fish that you spit at and they eat your spit.
What? Catfish eat your spit?
They're disgusting.
Wait a second. They're bottom dwellers, right?
They'll come up to the surface and eat anything you throw in the water.
But how do you know they'll eat your spit? Is this something you've done?
I'm sure I've done it.
Y'all want to go down to the pond?
Just nodding his head.
It's Midwest hillbillies.
Spitting at fish?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what else are you going to do?
Why? Why do you spit at the fish?
I don't know.
Garen, have you spit in the water and have
Yes,
in
I
your life?
Absolutely have.
And a catfish ate it.
Oh my God,
I'm gonna carp. Oh, maybe I'm confusing carp and catfish. They look the same in the face, right? They have like the whiskers and the big round mouth.
I'm literally gonna throw up.
And do they have teeth too? They're disgusting.
Teeth?
Have you eaten catfish, Garen?
Absolutely.
Oh, I've eaten a lot of catfish in my life.
I'm not sure if I've eaten catfish or not, but I
you would know.
Well, why does it have a very distinct?
I think it's just.
Isn't it usually fried?
Yeah.
I think you could describe it as muggy.
Yeah. Yeah. Garen, should we start a side podcast called the Midwest Hillbillies?
Muggy. Oh no. I thought it was like a normal thing. I'd see it on menus, and then I heard someone say don't eat them. They're bottom dwellers and they're dirty or something. I don't know.
Dirty's good. I would say it tastes like the inside of an ashtray.
So why do people eat it? Is it cheap?
Yeah.
You just got to stick your hand in a hole and pull it out. That's
and not
free.
get not
Wait,
and don't get bitten. Don't get bitten.
Wait a second. Stick your head in a hole. What are you talking about?
Your arm. You never seen noodling? I think they call it.
I have heard of this. What is it?
Usually some large white man will jump into a pond, stick his hand down into the shoreline, and then pull out a gargantuan.
Why are they so easy to
catfish.
catch?
They just hang out in these little hovels or whatever.
Okay.
They're just waiting for someone to spit.
I can't remember where I saw that, but I did see something about that, about just the reaching, or maybe we talked about it on the show. Who knows? I have brain fog.
I think this is our first catfish.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's not what we're talking about today.
We are talking about the other kind of catfishing.
The equally deplorable.
It's also awful. This is where someone creates a false identity to lure people into relationships. So it can be friendship, romantic connection. This happens on the internet. So the catfish refers to the person who creates the false identity.
Right.
Okay. The thing that separates catfishers apart from trolls, scammers, other online imposters is their emphasis on starting a relationship with someone and carrying it out over time. Do you guys want to know where the term catfishing comes from? Or maybe do you already know?
Well, I listened to the podcast you recommended to me called Darling? No.
Sweet Bobby.
Sweet Bobby.
Do you recommend it to everyone?
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic.
Have you listened to it before, Gary?
No.
Everyone listen to Sweet Bobby.
It's really fascinating.
So
it's all about
interesting.
catfishing. But they explained it on the podcast, but said that it's not necessarily true. It might be apocryphal. But anyway, apocryphal, not apocryphal. Apocryphal. But anyway, go on.
What a great word you've just thrown out. I'm going to tell you, first of all, let me say I got a lot of great information from Teen Vogue.
Really?
And WebMD, an article from VPN Overview, which thanks VPN Overview. So, do you guys remember the Nev Schulman documentary called Catfish?
Right.
So there was a guy in there. He was actually the partner, I don't know if he was the husband, of the woman who was catfishing Nev Schulman. He was the husband, it says, who tricked her, and he shared this anecdote. They used to tank cod from Alaska all the way to China. They'd keep them in vats in the ship. By the time the codfish reached China, the flesh was mush and tasteless. So this guy came up with the idea that if you put these cods in these big vats, put some catfish in with them, and the catfish will keep the cod agile.
Right.
And there are those people.
Because they're chasing them around.
Yeah.
Right.
Who are catfish in life. And they keep you on your toes. They keep you guessing. They keep you thinking. They keep you fresh. And thank God for the catfish, because we would be droll, boring, and dull if we didn't have somebody nipping at our fin.
Oh, so he thinks he's the hero.
He thinks he's scored.
Right.
That he's with this woman who's catfishing another
people.
guy. And that's the origin.
Right.
As far as I could research.
Yes.
And 2 different sites that I went to.
And is it that guy who coined it?
Well, I think. I mean,
Wow.
that's as far back as I checked a couple different places, and that was every place I checked said that. So
Okay, yeah.
if anyone wants to actually me,
Go ahead.
knock yourself out. Speaking of, I said that on the last episode. Well, the last episode I said that, which was about the lottery.
Yeah.
And my husband was like, hot diggity dog, and used it as an opportunity to actually me. And he was like, I just want to let you know that it's Massachusetts that has the highest number of people buying lottery tickets.
How did he know that?
He looked it up.
Wait, he just to actually?
Yeah. That's the kind of marriage I'm in, Danielle.
Jesus Christ, keep it. My husband tells me I'm challenging him. That's
Yeah.
really like he went out of his way to challenge you.
That's right.
Okay. You know what? He's keeping you fresh.
He's my catfish.
Yeah.
Why do you think people catfish?
It's a sense of power.
That's a good answer. It's not on this list, but I do
Okay.
think you're right. So here's some reasons why people may do this. Poor self-esteem,
Yeah.
depression or anxiety, to hide their identity, targeted revenge, targeted harassment, to explore their sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
Often people are pretending to be the other
Gender.
A catfish may try to scam money from their victims, or the catfishing is the first step in a plan to kidnap or physically abuse them.
Whoa.
That's a dark end of the spectrum. So how common is catfishing? So here are the most recent stats I found. First of all, it's thought to be highly underreported.
Oh.
Because a lot of people
are embarrassed.
They're embarrassed to admit
Right.
that this happened to them. This is from the FBI. This is from 2018. And this only relates to when money schemes are involved. So this
Okay.
isn't about when people are just doing it to, trick someone into dating. They call it confidence romance fraud. In 2018, the number of victims filing these complaints increased to more than 18,000, with more than $362 million in losses.
Jeez.
An increase of more than 70% over the previous year.
Oof.
Would you guys like to know some signs that you're being catfished?
Sure.
Number 1, the catfisher won't pick up a phone call,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yep.
Guys, I'm catfishing everyone I know.
I'm catfishing my mom.
They don't have many followers or friends. Someone on multiple platforms beyond a dating app, such as Instagram and Twitter, is easier to verify because you can see how legitimate or illegitimate a following they have. The more consistent someone is across platforms, the more
Right.
likely it is they are who they say they are.
Okay.
Right? Next, their story doesn't add up or seems too good to be true. Additionally, they may tell stories about having high-level jobs or family wealth to make themselves seem more attractive. They may invent stories designed to make you feel sorry for them, like a bad relationship or a difficult family background. So these are all things to watch out for.
Okay.
If you're unsure whether a person is who they say they are, conduct a Google reverse image search.
Okay, I don't know how to do this. How do you do that?
Okay, I'm going to tell you. First of all, just Google reverse image search. And then
you type in Google reverse image search?
And then you take the image
and you plunk
paste
it in. Okay.
And then it'll show you where those images appear. There was this one woman, Hope, I don't know her last name, doesn't matter. She actually catfished a lot of celebrities. She catfished, Brad Paisley and his wife.
Okay.
Who's also an actress. She was in Father of the Bride.
Oh, yeah. Kimberly Williams.
Thank you. I'm glad you remember her name. Another country band, John Henson, who used to host Talk Soup.
So random.
It's like such a weird...
Right.
Oh, and Kate Gosselin. So she catfished all of these celebrities into believing she had a daughter with terminal cancer to get them to like sing Amazing... Like she got Brad Paisley to sing Amazing Grace over the phone.
What?
She got them to send...
So this wasn't about money?
No, she never tried to get money from them.
So
it was
she
attention.
just wants attention.
They called it Munchausen by internet. Like instead of by proxy, like Munchausen by internet. Somebody termed that. But
meaning she wanted she got off on the pain of others on the internet.
Well, she kind of
was trying. Okay.
So she took images of a real girl who had actually died of cancer off of that she found on the internet and used those pictures to pretend that was her daughter. Their life sounds a bit too exciting, especially for catfish with low self-esteem. The opportunity to try on new, more exciting personalities online and feel admired for fake accomplishments may be what's driving them. So I think this is a lot of these people's motivation.
Yeah.
It's like they get to...
I could be a totally different person and I can have someone believe me.
Yes, it's like I didn't do theater in school, so here I get to try this out. If you're talking to someone whose past week had more activity and excitement crammed into it than the average person sees in a year, it's worth asking them questions that force specificity. Asking them questions that force specificity. That's a hard word to say.
It is.
So you can see if any holes in their stories appear. That can be true, too, if the excitement at hand veers more on the side of tragedy, losses, and other events. Okay. Their only photos are professional. Most people on social media upload multiple photos of themselves in their day-to-day activities. Be wary of those who have very few photos of themselves. It's a lot less likely that someone's catfishing you if, in addition to selfies, they also upload their succulent garden, pics of their cat napping, or the beach they just visited.
I just realized what you're doing. You're giving hints to people who want to catfish.
I'm teaching you how to catfish.
Put a picture of a succulent in your profile.
If you're catfishing someone and you don't have a succulent, you better add one now.
Succulent for suckers.
Yes. They haven't changed profile photos in a long time or ever.
Oh, well, then I guess I'm catfishing. I mean, I don't change my profile.
No, mine's from 5 years ago, I think.
But it's not a picture of me, so I guess that's why I don't.
You know what, guys? You want the picture of me from 5 years ago.
You don't want to be updated.
It's better.
You don't want to be confronted with reality.
No, you're welcome.
You're doing a service.
Yes, exactly. You should appreciate it. It's better. Here's another really big red flag. They don't want to meet in real life or even video chat.
Yep.
Right? Push for a video call if you're unable to arrange an in-person meeting, especially if the other person lives far away. If they won't video chat, that's another red flag, and they're probably not the person they've been representing themselves as on dating sites or a Facebook profile. Catfish will happily waste copious amounts of your time with excuses and fabrications.
It's just exhausting. Listening to that show, it's just exhausting what that woman was put through. It's just...
I mean...
But at the same time, it's like, okay, this is fucking ridiculous at this point. Like, she really had blinders on. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah. But I also think she was worn down by a person. I think it's also that, like, when somebody's in a controlling, manipulative relationship, a controlling, manipulative person wears away at your edges slowly.
Yeah, that's true. She was kind of brought to the...
And so I think that your sense of one sense of reality in that type of controlling, manipulative, abusive relationship.
Like we said before, it's like a cult.
Yeah,
like your mindset.
Your
changed.
mindset is not what it was.
Right.
They do make plans with you, but repeatedly cancel. isn't this everyone in LA?
I was going to say, right.
I'm being catfished by everyone.
By all my friends.
Yes,
and
exactly.
business associates.
While some catfish will refuse the bait to meet you point blank, others will enthusiastically make plans with you, only to cancel time and time again. A cornerstone of catfishing is the art of making excuses, and they've likely got a long list at the ready for why, so sorry, they can't actually meet you tonight.
Right.
Or why they're no longer free for that phone call. And just to note on the plan making front, although you may be eager to finally see this person IRL, always arrange to meet in a public space, especially for your first time meeting an online connection.
Yes.
If you're suspicious, don't meet them like and then when they're like, hey, I have a great dark alley. It's really far away and it's so
it's a
dark.
Dead end.
Yeah. I'm bringing my stabbiest knife. You might want to ask for a different spot. They ask you for deeply personal information, but keep things about their own life vague. If someone asks for your social security number, we can hopefully all spot that as a red flag. What we really mean by personal information here, though, is someone asking you probing questions that seek to get your guard down and encourage vulnerability.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially if you're a woman, most men aren't going to ask you more about yourself than they're going to talk about themselves. So that right there is a red flag.
That's sad, though. Isn't that a sad state?
Yeah, but isn't that true?
I don't know. Maybe I've been lucky to have a lot of men who are good
I'm making a generalization.
Yeah, but
I do think that men are less inquisitive about details.
in my general online dating experience, because I did do decent amount of online dating. There certainly were I remember going on an online date where I'd already gone on an online date with him and he didn't even remember.
Wait, did you remember?
Well, when I saw him, yes, immediately.
Wait, you mean you met in real life?
Yes, on an online date, and then we connected on a different online dating platform. His pictures were different, so I didn't.
Okay.
And then when I saw him in real life, I was like, we've already been on a date.
That's hysterical.
So if your outlet is a catfisher, they could be trying to manipulate you and to create a false sense of intimacy.
Right.
That might be the case if they're only ever asking you questions about yourself without ever offering up personal info of their own. Right?
Right.
They ask you for money.
Ugh.
I mean, this is a giant red flag, right? If they ask for a loan or flat out gift, that is a warning sign. Never send money to someone you've never met, no matter how small the amount. They're sharing strong feelings for you, and quickly.
Love bombs.
You got it. I was just about to talk about love bombs. Never send nude or sexual photos to someone you haven't met in person. A catfish may attempt to blackmail you with the images.
Right.
But I mean, I don't want to send naked pictures to someone I know.
You don't?
No, just to strangers.
Oh, okay, got it. Because that's how you get a thrill.
That's my jam.
That's your jam.
That's my jam. Okay, something just feels off. Don't be afraid to trust your Danielle. Don't be afraid to trust your Danielle.
Look, I've been trying to tell people that for years.
Trust your Danielle. Don't be afraid to trust your intuition. If something about your new online pal seems off, pay attention to that feeling.
Yeah, go with it.
You know what? I'm suspect of any internet stranger that wants to be my friend. Ask them about their background, like restaurants in the town they say they're from, something specific to their job. If they're saying they live in Paris, oh my God, it'd be so cool if I had a picture of you with the Eiffel Tower behind it.
And then they just go to a gift shop and do a forced perspective. Put a little tiny miniature.
Yes, it's it's a keychain. Hire a private investigator. So some people talk to each other online for years without ever meeting or talking on the phone. If you want to get to the bottom of the mystery, hire a private investigator to figure out the situation.
Right.
Again, back to Sweet Bobby.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, you could have just
Yeah.
solved this a lot sooner. Okay, what not to do when you've been catfished. Okay, don't give the catfish money. We've already established this. If you have, call or contact your local police department so they can start an investigation. Also, file a complaint with the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. Block the catfish from your social media accounts and stop contacting them. Report the catfish on the website or platform where you met them.
Uh-huh.
And
yeah, because are the chances, maybe you know this from your research, are the chances that if they're catfishing you, they're catfishing someone else at the same time? Or do they generally concentrate on one person?
Well, just from anecdotal research of different catfishing stories I've read about, yes, they're usually doing it. They've done it before. they're doing it at the same time, and they're going to do it again.
Yeah, because it's probably an addictive
yes, it's
thing.
a thrill. It's like a drug.
It's like having more than one Words with Friends game going at the same time.
You're always playing with other
exactly
people.
like that, yeah.
If the catfish scammed you, it can't hurt to help others stay safe by reporting it to a scam tracker, such as the one operated by the Better Business Bureau.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready for a story?
Yes.
All right. So this is crazy. I got a lot of help from ABC News and the Daily Beast story written by Larry Gelton. Okay. Thomas Montgomery, a 46-year-old married father of 2, went by screen name Marine Sniper on a popular game site, Pogo. Accidentally, he went into a teen chat room for this game, Pogo. When 18-year-old tall, hot blonde started instant messaging him, he decided to pretend he was 18 too. I kept thinking, well, we're never going to meet. I'll just play the game with her, he said. Before long, the flirtation became a romance.
Oh, boy.
Tall, hot blonde's instant messages revealed that her real name was Jessie, a softball-playing high school senior from West Virginia. She sent Montgomery photos that lived up to her screen name, and then some. There were some very provocative poses, he said. In return, Jessie wanted to see what he liked, too. What he looked like, too. So he sent her his photo from Marine boot camp. The picture was 30 years out of date.
Oh, shit.
Montgomery's screen name, Marine Sniper, was a nostalgic hearkening back to the 6 years he spent in the military as a young man. But for Jessie, he invented a younger, stronger, more virile version of himself called Tommy. He was my height, 6 feet tall, had bright red hair, said Montgomery. Big shoulders, muscles, and all that.
Wait a second. Why would you invent someone who was a redhead?
I think he might have been. I think he might have been a redhead when he was young.
Okay.
So he was inventing himself. Like,
I'm just saying, wouldn't you want an upgrade?
Yeah,
from being a redheaded guy.
I would too. I don't know. Maybe he just thought like redheaded guys were the thing.
Okay.
I was like Carrot Top.
Yeah.
You know, Carrot Top. I look like him. Tommy shared tales of combat in Fallujah, which Montgomery learned about by watching the news, while Jessie sent sizzling bikini photos and a split heart pendant that said Jessie and Tommy forever.
Oh, for God's sake.
There was even serious talk of marriage. I love you always and forever, Tommy, wrote Jessie. I've never felt this way, Montgomery responded. The relationship had become more than a flirtation, Montgomery said. There was virtual sex going on in there between her and Tommy, he said. Not him. Tommy.
Yeah, I know. I love how he separates that.
Well, Montgomery said the virtual sex made him feel kind of dirty. He was in too deep to sever ties with her.
What could he possibly do?
No, I know. He had no choice. If I was smart, I would have just ended it, but it was like a drug that I needed every day, he said. Montgomery seemed to be losing touch with reality.
Uh-oh.
He wrote a note to himself. On January 2nd, 2006, Tom Montgomery, 46 years old, ceases to exist and is replaced by an 18-year-old battle-scarred Marine. He is moving to West Virginia to be with the love of his life. The note went on to say that this new 18-year-old resembled a red-haired Harrison Ford and had $2.5 million in the bank and a 9-inch penis.
Okay.
In March 2006, according to 20...
Wait, was the note for himself?
Yes. He kept it in his locker at work.
So, I don't want to give away the ending. I don't know the ending, but do we know why he did this, or will we find out why he wrote this note?
In his mind
He was separating.
He was separating reality. Like, I'm going to not be this guy anymore, and I'm going to become this guy.
Oh, my God.
In March 2006, according to 2020, one of his daughters was using his computer when Jessie IM'd him. Montgomery's wife sent the love letters, photos, and Montgomery's wife found the love letters, photos, and mementos from Jessie, including a pair of red panties.
Oh, gewalt.
She sent Jessie a photo of her family and a letter. Let me introduce you to these people, she wrote. The man in the center is Tom, my husband, since 1989. He's 46 years old. Jessie was horrified and broke off the relationship immediately. She sent him a text message that said she hated him. You should be put in jail for this.
Yeah.
She said to Montgomery. The heartbroken Jessie sought revenge by befriending in the same chat room a 22-year-old co-worker of Montgomery's named Brian Barrett. His handle was Beefcake, for whom Montgomery had been a mentor.
Okay.
So Montgomery and this guy worked together. at the same factory. Jessie flirted with Barrett, whom she goaded into humiliating Montgomery at work and online.
Jesus.
So the two are now a couple, the two young ones, and they're starting to make fun of Montgomery.
Okay, does the coworker know the history?
Yes.
Okay, so she's not lying to him. She told him exactly what she's doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Passions intensified and Montgomery began making threats against both Barrett and Jessie's mother.
Jesus.
Before long, Jessie was sending Brian her photos and the two had become a cyber item. Marine Sniper became consumed with jealousy. Brian will pay in blood. Montgomery IM'd to Jessie. His messages became increasingly violent as he was forced to watch their romance blossom in the same chat rooms he used to frequent with Jessie. Jessie and Barrett took to the internet to make sure everyone knew Montgomery was a liar. They were going into these chat rooms and letting people know that he was actually 47 years old. They almost made him out to be a pedophile. This is what Montgomery's lawyer said.
Okay.
But the IMs, then there were IMs from Tall Hot Blonde, Jessie. She goes back to Montgomery and is resuming her relationship with him.
What?
Yeah. Here's Tall Hot Blonde. I ache to be with Tommy. She's writing this to Montgomery. Do you miss it, Tom? More than you will ever know.
Oh, God.
My heart aches to hear you call me your Tommy. I wish I could be that 19-year-old Marine for you. I know, Tom. Jessie took up with so she takes up with Montgomery again. In his mind,
with people?
He's hit the jackpot again, and now he's being accepted for being 47, and he still has this hot girl.
But she's still pretending he's 19.
Yeah, she's like, we're going to keep this going, and I'll still pretend you're young, and I still want to be with you.
Jesus.
Montgomery knew he's in Waver's head.
I mean, that's similar to what my husband and I do. He still pretends I'm young, I think, so
that's
I get
nice.
it. He's never expressed this to me. I'm just assuming.
Yeah.
How else would you get along?
That got really dark.
I was just being silly, honest to God.
It was like a drug. I was addicted to it. I couldn't just end it. At one point, when his wife actually told him to get off the computer and talk to her, Montgomery couldn't. I just told her, I'll get off when I'm done. Oh, that sounded... He will get off.
Yeah.
Montgomery says nothing sexual happened between them after Tall Hot Blonde found out how old he was, but their IMs tell a different story.
I was going to say.
Marine Sniper, wish you were nude. What would you do? Stare? That all? Nope. You might get the magic.
No wonder she couldn't stay away. I mean, with this scintillating conversation.
Make love to me, Tommy. But it didn't last. Jessie told Montgomery they were through and seemed to take up with Barrett again. Montgomery began to go into a downward spiral. The obsession turns into jealousy. Jealousy turns into betrayal and revenge. This is District Attorney Frank Sedita. You really start to get a sense of this person going into an abyss, and it's kind of frightening. And then the tipping point. Barrett, a.k.a. Beefcake, said he was going to meet Tall Hot Blonde in person. Jessie texted him at the last minute not to visit, but Montgomery, who had learned of the plan to meet, was furious. On September 15th, 2006, as Barrett left for work, 3 shots rang out. Brian Barrett was found dead in the parking lot where he worked, shot 3 times by a military rifle. Police quickly learned of the internet love triangle from coworkers, and when they couldn't find Thomas Montgomery, they feared they knew just where he was headed. Investigators then learned of Jessie through his computer, dispatched officers to her Oakville, West Virginia home to make sure she was safe. Once there, a policeman asked Jessie's mother, Mary Sheeler, where Jessie was. Sheeler hemmed and hawed and began to cry. Then she made a startling confession. Her daughter had never communicated with either men. It was her 45-year-old housewife, Mary Sheeler, who used sexy photos of her own daughter to seduce both men, including having cyber sex with them using her daughter's name and image. It was later learned that Sheeler had flirted online as Jessie with other men as well, even once having pointed a video camera up her daughter's skirt for a video she sent to several men with the question, guys, do you like it?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Montgomery was charged and later pled guilty to the murder of Brian Barrett. In exchange for his plea, he received a 20-year sentence. Prosecutors said their discovery of Monterey's DNA on a peach pit found at the crime scene and a photo of Montgomery's family gun cabinet, which showed the type of old military rifle that police believe was used to shoot Barrett, were key to their case against Montgomery. Prosecutors in Buffalo, meanwhile, looked for a way to charge Mary Sheeler for something, anything in the case. But being a shit stain of a human being isn't against the law.
But isn't it exploiting your daughter?
She wasn't a minor.
Somewhat? She wasn't a minor.
But
right.
still, it seems like she should go to jail. She didn't come away unscathed. Her husband divorced her over her deception, and her daughter doesn't talk to her either.
Jesus. This is double catfishing.
Yeah, Sheila, according to a woman who made a documentary about this, has never apologized to her daughter, shown any remorse, or acknowledged wrongdoing of any sort.
Oh no, she's just a psycho.
Yeah, I thought this came from the Daily Beast article. These are not my words. The final irony to this case in Tall Hot Blonde is that behind the well-matched youthful sizzle of the Jesse and Tommy personas lay another equally well-matched pair.
Yeah,
the two malcontented strangers who created them. Montgomery and Sheila were both lonely people who reached their mid-40s with their best days behind them. Man, that doesn't sound... I don't agree with that. I mean, but for those two.
Yeah.
Who then created deadly deceptions in the hopes of recapturing the glory of youth and of finding real intimacy by fervently denying their true selves. Had they ever met in real life, Thomas Montgomery and Mary Sheila might just have been the perfect couple.
Wow. I can't believe the guy only got 20 years for killing someone in cold blood.
I can't believe she didn't get anything for what she did to her daughter. Like, can you imagine?
So there are no laws against internet tricking, or
no? And the family of Barrett, the guy who was murdered, is trying. They're trying to get laws passed.
Yeah.
And I think it's just. Other families I've read about who have experienced similar things. Not similar to this. I mean, this is pretty specific, but like damage from internet catfishing.
But it's not a law per se. You can catfish someone legally.
As far as I know.
Shit.
So the only guy who was real in that story is the one who called himself Beefcake.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it turns out he wasn't a beefcake. He was also lying.
He was a little chubby, but he was very cute.
He was a little chubby. Okay. Well, anyway, that was unfreaking believable.
Wasn't that a crazy story?
Crazy. Crazy banana times.
Yes.
And we will be right back with our guest. Holy shit.
Welcome back to How to Survive. My name is Kristine.
I'm still Danielle.
Danielle.
Yeah.
I usually always ask you about your break.
Right.
But what I really want to know is, did you watch the Emmys last night?
So I did watch the Emmys. We still pretend like it's going to be fun in our house.
Oh, okay.
And the three of us gather around, and it's just three assholes bitching the whole time, basically. But the very first, because you didn't watch it, right? Did you watch it, Karen?
I forgot it was even. I didn't even know it was on actually because it was Monday and
it's usually on Sundays. I know, it was weird. So maybe they didn't want to do it on September 11th.
Maybe. Why?
Well, that didn't stop it from being a disaster of epic proportions. So the very first thing they do is they say, you can laugh, Wendy, it's okay. They say that we're gonna, you've always heard that you always sing along with the theme songs to television shows, but you can't dance to them until now. So then they play a theme song and have the people come out and dance to them, and then change it to like a funkified, like a
hip version
of the song. But as my brilliant son pointed out, the very first song they picked was the theme song to Friends, which they do indeed dance to in the opening credits of Friends. So it was such a dumb, and then they had, there wasn't anything funny about it. It was so corny. It was like 90s, 80s corny. And then like Kenan Thompson was dancing with it, but like he's not good enough for it to be impressive, and it wasn't silly enough to be funny. It was just awkward, and that's how they started it.
That was their best. They brought their best.
Oh. Yeah. And then they danced to like the Law and Order theme, which could have been funny.
Yeah.
But it wasn't funny at all. It was just, it was so embarrassing. And I just kept staring going, how could you make this funny? There's a way to make this funny if this was what you wanted to do. But it was so earnest. It was embarrassing. Anyway.
You know what? I think there's a new trend in comedy, and this might be younger people than us who really are into being earnest. I'm not there for it.
Yeah. You mean like the Ted Lassos of the world?
Yeah, let's ask Wendy why don't you bring in Wendy so we can ask her what she thinks about all this earnestness.
So for the first half, we talked about how to survive being catfished.
Yeah.
And now we're going to talk about how to survive fishing for your perfect job.
Love it.
And now we are going to introduce our fantastic guest. She's a writer and producer. Wendy Miller.
Hello.
Hi, Wendy.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
I don't know if you know this, but you've been referenced on this show more than once.
I know on Kathy's episode, which was really fun. I love her so much, and we were actually together during an earthquake, another one.
That's right. You said that. That's right. That's crazy.
Yeah, but what else was I referenced?
Well, when Matt Weinhold was on the show, and we talked about how Matt and I wrote for Playboy. Wendy was our boss. And Wendy's the one who gave us the ridiculous German soft porn reality show for us to dub into English with our own writing.
Best job ever.
It was fantastic.
It was so much fun. And the fact that I got to be in it was like a dream come true for me, because I'm like Lucy Ricardo with everything, and I just want to get in it. And I just had such a great time working with you guys.
Also, Wendy was a child actor. You were a model and actor, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Tell me what your roles were when you were a child.
Well, it was mostly just commercials. I did some theater stuff, but it was like my longest running, most successful commercials, I did a commercial with Morris the cat.
You did? My God.
And I am the very first person in the history of the world whose face was shown in a Morris the cat commercial. It used to just be Morris, and you'd see like a lady's hand and and so I did a commercial where Morris is in a baby buggy, and they go, Morris, time for Din Din, and I'm like playing with him, and I go, already, and then Morris jumps out, and it ran for 10 years, and
oh my gosh, we have to put this in the show notes.
It's on YouTube. You can see it. There's links.
We're gonna put a link to this. That's amazing.
I love this.
And of course, and we were talking about this. Right before the commercial was shot, I decided to cut my own bangs because.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Come on.
And I was a professional at this point. I'd already done like 10 commercials. And so I cut my own bangs, and then I show up, for the 9 Lives commercial. And my mother had gone out and bought a bunch of like bang wigs. Like,
yes.
Are not made for kids. And this was like the late 60s. So I looked like Marlo Thomas, except without the fabulousness. And they looked at me and they were like, she looks like a real kid, so they let me be.
Wow!
So you can see my janky braids, and also everyone's looking at Morris. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah,
he did upstage me. So,
do you think that was like a psychological ploy on your part to get out of show business or something?
I love that thought, because I was not interested in being in show business. I'm not sure if I still am. But I've literally been in this business for 50 plus years.
Right.
Like, I'm like an Osmond that way, except for all this lack of success. So maybe I never even thought about that.
Because it's a pretty bold move to do right before you're going to shoot a commercial.
And it's not.
It wasn't your first one, so you knew. Did your mom freak out?
Yes,
of course she did. Oh my God, that's hysterical.
Yeah, it was this big national spot. It ran for 10 years. My husband claims to have seen it as a kid and fallen in love with me back then. So he knew the whole thing. He refers to it all the time.
Oh my God. Okay, I can't wait to see this.
It's on YouTube. You can see it.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about a different part of your showbiz career, which was...
Well, I pivoted from being a child star to being a producer.
Right.
And I grew up in Chicago. And I thought if I could just work at the Oprah Winfrey Show, my life would be set. It was like the biggest show on TV, shooting in Chicago.
Right.
And I thought, oh my God, I have to get a job there. I have to get a job there. And it was a very, very exciting opportunity. And I actually got hired there.
Okay, so what year are we talking?
We're talking the early 90s.
Okay, so she's already a huge deal at this point.
This is Oprah, like,
in her
prime, right?
Yeah.
This is like, every woman is sitting down at 3 o'clock, at least in the Midwest, which is where I'm from.
Yeah, 3 o'clock.
Yep.
I mean, they are not missing Oprah.
No, it's the hugest deal ever.
Yes.
And I was hired. I was actually hired to be on the show because I was fat. And they wanted to do a show about someone going to like, Jenny Craig and other weight loss places, and like hearing how they close you, how they get you to buy their services. So their setup was...
Wait, that's hysterical, because she now owns, or
Weight Watchers.
Partly owns Weight Watchers.
Uh-huh.
That's amazing.
It gets even gets hinky. So
wait. So you answered an ad for fat people? Is that
they were looking for a fat like the ad said like
they didn't say that. I had had a million meetings there because I kept trying to get hired, and they were just like no. And finally they were like, wait a minute.
Oh, gotcha.
And so the deal was they wanted me to go to these places and see how they would close me.
Okay.
Right? Now what they were completely wrong about, which is weird because they were really like the most organized, straight together place I've ever worked in my life. Mm-hmm. They had me going to like Jenny Craig and Nutrisystem with a friend, which as a woman, I don't think you do that. And of course, the friend has a bag with a pinhole camera. Right. So she's walking around, not at all awkward, like on an episode of Scooby-Doo, carrying this bag around. And I'm like, hi, I'm here to lose weight.
With my friend.
With my friend, who looks like a lady camera operator. So do I need to say more?
She's got a boom mic.
The whole thing.
Got it.
The whole time. She's practically wearing like a steady camera. And so... And then here's where it turns really bad. They're like, okay. And then they go, let's weigh you. And I'm like, now I'm probably about 180 pounds or whatever. And they're like, okay. And then so my friend is like standing there with the bag and I have to get on the scale. So now I'm getting weighed on national TV over and over and over again.
Because you're going to all these different
ones. And they're like, and they're using terminology to close me like, don't you want to get married? Like this is...
In the 90s?
Wow.
Dude, this is the whole point of the show.
Okay.
And so...
Don't you want to get married?
Well, what they do is they ask you, how would you feel if you lost weight? And I knew this. And I'd be like, I would feel happy and that I could get married. So then they weigh you and they go, don't you want to feel happy and get married? I'm like, I do. How did you know that?
Oh, my God. Okay.
So that they close you with your own fantasy.
Right.
Yes.
Anyway... I did the thing and we went on the show and it was really fun and we created like a fake diet. I created this thing called the hot dog diet where people would sign up thinking if they lost weight just by eating hot dogs. So they liked me. So they kept me around.
Okay.
And so then they were doing an episode called Would You Risk Your Life to Save a Stranger?
Okay.
And I had no training at anything, and I was
I'm sorry. At this point, had you been hired as a producer?
No, I'm still freelancing.
Okay,
you're just keep extending me.
You're just the guinea pig thrown into all these weird situations.
They like that I have ideas.
Right.
I'm working for this producer, this gay man who's in the closet and really enraged, and so he was kind of difficult. And two producers working with him who were horrible people. I'm telling you, the place was a snake pit. Oof. I had colitis the entire time I was there, and it was rough. And I just wanted to work there so badly because I thought this is the answer to my life. It's in Chicago. It's so everything. So I get put on the show. Would you risk your life to save a stranger? And it's being produced by two associate producers that they've bumped up to producers. So I'm like junior. I know nothing, and now I'm an associate producer on this episode, working with junior people. So. It's scary. And
everyone's under pressure.
Enormous pressure.
Oh, gosh.
My day started at 7 in the morning, and I would be there till 2 or 3 in the morning.
Jeez.
Like, you literally go home to take a nap and change your underwear and go back to work. Like, it was a rough place to be.
Especially if you have colitis.
Especially if you've
got to change your underwear. I don't know. I'm just assuming. I don't really know what colitis entails.
Well, luckily, no problems at work. Anyway, so I'm on this episode, and it's all about people who have like run into the middle of the freeway to rescue someone they don't know. The whole thing.
Right.
Would you say it's self-explanatory? And we're doing the whole thing. I really don't know what's going on. Like no one is explaining the structure of how to produce the show, anything. And I'm just trying to don't get fired. This is my mantra. Whatever you do, don't get fired.
Yeah.
And so it's a weird place, and I'm trying to find my place there, and I'm not of the culture there. It was a lot of very pretty, well-dressed, mean girls, and I'm just not in that world. I never will be. I never have been.
Right.
I don't fit in, but I'm just trying not to get fired.
So you weren't supposed to be on camera for this one?
No. I was only on camera for the one.
Gotcha. Okay. So they really would freelance producing gigs? That seems so strange. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a normal thing?
Well, I guess they liked my ideas because I pitched a bunch of ideas after the fat thing because they liked the hot dog diet. I came up with other things like, we'll put you on another show.
Okay, great.
So I was just thrilled to be there.
Yeah.
So that the premise, would you risk your life to save a stranger? So they had all these people coming in who risked their lives to save a stranger, and I'm just trying to learn as much as I can. I'm watching the associate producer, who's now the producer, and she's writing the script, and next thing you know, we're actually shooting the episode.
Okay.
And I don't know where to go. Nobody's told me. I don't know where to stand. I don't know what to do. I don't know anything. So I decided to hang out in the booth. And in the booth, you've got the executive producer, who was this incredibly terrifying woman named Debbie DeMeo.
Jesus.
Who would walk down the hallway and you'd hear like, dun, 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 dun. She was terrifying. However, I really liked her.
Yeah.
And I wasn't afraid of her for some reason.
Okay.
I mean, I've had cancer. What you going to do to me?
Yeah.
But so we were fine, actually. So I'm in the back of the booth, and we're in between segments. The show is shooting. So Act 1, they've had the guy who, pulled the kid out of the well when he was on fire. Whatever.
Right.
Every act
you think the water would have put it out. But this poor kid.
It was a dry well.
It was a dry well.
Every act is a different person, and it's a little convoluted in this whole thing. And I'm standing in the back of the booth, and we're in between acts. And in between acts, Debbie DeMayo is going through the teleprompter for the next act. And she's running through it, and it says, meet Kenny Carlson, who blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at that, and I go, Kenny Carlson? I think Kenny Carlson's coming later in the show.
Okay.
I don't think that script is right. And now what do I do? Do I say, I don't know what to do. And I'm thinking, So I'm in the back of the booth, and I go, excuse me. And Debbie DeMayo, reels around. She's like, what?
Oh, my God.
Her dad was a colonel in the Marines.
Oh,
okay,
Jesus.
So she does not suffer fools. And I go, I think the script might be wrong. Coming up in the next intro, I think it's wrong. And so she's like, go get Jill. And Jill was the executive producer. Jill was producing the show.
Okay.
She's like, go get Jill. And that's not really her name. I don't remember her name. I'm like, oh, okay. And so I run out of the booth, and I run down the hall at Harpo. And I run in the studio, and I see Jill standing there. I'm like, Jill, there's a problem in the booth. They need to see you right away.
Okay.
And then my vision widens out, and I notice that Jill is talking to the host of the show.
Oh.
And I have interrupted them.
Oh, no.
And the host of the show is looking at me like, who is this person interrupting us on the show that I host, in the studio that I host, on the city block that I own?
in the world of which I am the queen.
What the hell? And I'm like, huh. And I literally take a couple steps back. And Jill's like, okay. So Jill somehow excuses herself, and I'm like, and I go back in the hallway. Jill goes in the booth, and I'm standing outside of the booth. I don't know what to do.
Right. Yes.
Jill comes out of the booth, tears streaming down her face. Her face is bright red, and she goes, "Don't you ever do that to me again!" And then she goes in the studio, and I'm like, I'm dead here. I'm dead. So I just go back up to my desk. The show's in production. I just go up I get my 3 little tchotchkes, and I just walk out of the building because I'm like, I'm dead here. I'm dead.
Oh my God.
Years later, I'm working at a network running several shows. A network co-owned by the talk show host.
Okay.
And I see that Debbie DeMayo now has a job at NBC.
Okay.
And I worked at NBC a million times.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm just going to call Debbie DeMayo.
All right.
Because over the years between the time I ran out of the studio and this job now at this cable, I was convinced I was persona non grata. All these people hated me. I was never going to get hired ever again in TV. I've made the biggest mistake of my life. I can't believe I screwed up. I'm never going to work in TV again. Of course, I'm working in TV. And so I called Debbie DeMayo. And I go, hi, Wendy Miller. She's like, yeah, I think I kind of remember you. And I said, you're part of my worst day ever in TV. And she goes, what are you talking about? And I tell her the story, and she goes, was the name in the teleprompter wrong? And I said, yeah, it was wrong. And she had to fix it. And she goes, don't you realize you didn't destroy her?
Yeah.
You saved her.
Yes.
Because if Oprah had to reread that intro another time, we would have had to stop the show and reshoot all of that. And I was like, oh, I risked my life to save a stranger.
Oh my God.
And I bet you she still wants to kill me.
Wow. So wait a second. I have so many questions. When you left, did anyone call you?
No.
So you never heard from any of those people?
Never heard from. Did you get paid?
Oh yeah, they paid really well. There was the most organized, together place I've ever worked in.
It just
in my
happened
life.
to be a mistake in the prompter. That's not crazy,
right?
But why? Okay, I was going to ask you. So what was Oprah like? But now I'm getting the feeling that Oprah is terrifying.
I I have no idea what Oprah's like.
Oh, because that was the first. You never actually talked to her.
People
Besides
be like,
that,
oh, you worked at the Oprah show. I don't know. Like, I literally, it's not like she's hanging around with everyone.
Okay,
right.
Like, I was with low-level gangsters. I was not with capo de capos.
But why was it so awful? I mean, I guess I'm just being naive, but why is it so awful to come in and say you're needed in the booth? You are needed in the booth.
I think.
What were you supposed to do? Send a carrier pigeon?
Well, literally, she said, go get Jill. And I was like, I had to go get her.
Right.
Because we're in the middle of the show, and I wanted to follow orders. What I should have done, I think, first of all, most importantly, not interrupted them.
Right.
Pulled her aside after they were done talking. But see, the problem is, and I knew this, the minute they stopped talking, they were going to start shooting.
Right. So you had to get her right then.
Because
were they on the stage when you came?
Yes, because the fucking terrifying lady, sorry for my language, because the terrifying lady was like, go get her, like now. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Yeah, what am I going to do?
It sounds like you leaving was a very healthy choice for you, though. For your colitis, for your mental health.
I wanted to be there so badly, and I thought, if I could just fit in here, I could work here for 10 years, and I could be with the fancy. But you know what? If anyone knows me, I'm just not that person. I don't fit in that world. I'm not with the mean girls. I don't put on the outfits. You should see what I'm wearing cargo shorts right now, okay?
Have you ever walked into E?
No. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. We used to work at E, and everyone is dressed like they're camera ready.
Exactly.
Like they all look like the hosts.
Yeah, they all look like the hosts
of the entertainment shows of the news.
Yeah,
everyone that works there looks like that.
Full makeup, full hair, all the time, heels, all the time.
They're all getting I don't know how they can afford it because they're like they all have professional blowouts.
Yeah.
I just spent 2 seasons working on a show for Hallmark, a daily talk show, and all of the producers on that look like they came out of like the Kardashian show. Like, they're all stunning.
So weird, right?
And I walk in like me,
right?
And so my culture is not fancy. My culture is me. And you know when you're with your people, you know it, right?
Yeah,
right.
These are not my people. I wanted so badly to fit in there.
So then, did you? Okay. So when you left that day, what was your emotional state?
I was really embarrassed because I thought, oh my gosh, I just screwed up so hard. And it's like, this was the one thing I wanted so badly, and I got it, and then I blew it. And I just felt terrible. And I also was certain that I was going to be put on a blacklist and never work again.
Right.
I'm not even sure that I'm not on that list.
I mean, I think that's a common feeling after any writing job I've ever had, or like produce every job I've ever had. When I leave, I'm like, well, that's it.
Exactly.
Say goodbye to Hollywood.
Yep.
All right. Well, before we go, I very much want to hear about your latest endeavor, which is not TV related, but what is it?
Well, thank you for asking. A friend of mine, I was walking down the street, and a friend of mine gave me this oracle card, so I could ask questions of my oracles and get like life's answers. And I pulled one of the cards, and I realized my oracles are not a bunch of like gods up in the sky.
Right.
Yeah.
My oracles are a bunch of hilarious gay men. So I created an oracle deck where if you want life's advice, you pull a card and you get it from a really funny, edgy gay man.
Okay.
And it's called Ask Your Gay BFF.
That's amazing.
The only oracle cards that read you. And honestly, they're really funny and they're pretty racy, and it's probably one of the most fun projects I've ever worked on. I've had to teach myself how to manufacture cards, and I've learned about packaging and branding and all these things I never knew. And I'm
impressed.
I'm launching this like in October. On Kickstarter.
On Kickstarter. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll look for you on Kickstarter. What is it called?
Well, the company's called cardtobelieve.com.
Okay.
Right? So look for Card to Believe.
Okay.
Cardtobelieve.com.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm going to have these cards and some other very, very fun things that are coming up soon. Can you believe it?
That's
it's
exciting.
Very exciting. And also, all I can think about is that I want you to go on Shark Tank.
Well, there's a lot of dirty words and things in here, so we'd have to clean it up.
They will laugh hysterically. They laugh at like someone doing a jig for 2 seconds. They think it's hysterical.
Oh, these cards are beyond hilarious. They were written by some very, very funny gay men. And Fenton Bailey, who produces Drag Race, loved them. Bruce Valanche gave me some love.
Whoa.
He loved them. He said, Wendy Miller's got the answer for everything. So, I mean, they're really funny. They're really funny, yeah.
Oh my God. Lori will say it's too early to invest, but she loves you. We watched a lot of Shark Tank lately. That's great. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait for it to hit. So the idea is if it gets funded, then you'll produce them and sell them online?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then people can have them. And I mean, they really exist. So, you know, they're just really, really fun and they're funny. And you get a yes or a no or a maybe. Okay. And it's been really fun for me just to kind of learn how to make cards.
Yes.
Dealing with manufacturing in China and just...
The Tonys are starting Try Me Again in 9 hours. Okay, that is fucking hilarious. Okay, I just read one and I'm already in. I love it.
Thank you.
Very funny. Okay, well, Wendy, I'm so glad we got you here.
What a great story.
Such an amazing story. 2 daytime drama.
I know.
Talk show dramas back to back.
We love it. We're here for it.
If anyone's worked for Sally Jesse Raphael and wants to come in.
I know we already know so many people that work for Ellen, but
yeah, but they're not allowed.
They're all quiet.
They're just scared for their lives. Anyway, thank you so much, Wendy.
Thank you.
We will be right back with what did we learn today?
Danielle.
Kristine.
Are you ready to learn what we learned today?
I am.
Imelda Staunton is a British actress who portrays Dolores Umbridge in the film adaptation of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix.
Okay. Got it.
Sweet Bobby is a live, multi-part investigation in search of one of the world's most sophisticated catfishers. Catfishers. I've also been listening to a podcast that I recommend called Wild Boys.
Okay.
It isn't necessarily... It's real life, but not... online, so not catfishing per se, but I think these boys are tricking a community.
Ooh.
And it's in Canada, and it's really fascinating.
Okay, I'm listening to it on the way home.
I have not listened to the end yet, so I don't know what is up, but I recommend it. Munchausen by internet occurs when medically well individuals fake recognized illnesses in virtual environments, such as online support groups.
Gotcha.
No meet, no video chat, always canceled plans, red flags.
Right.
If you do end up meeting, do so in a public place.
Yes.
Trust your Danielle.
That's right, always.
And your gut.
In any circumstance.
Don't give people online money.
Ever.
No, just...
Also, don't give people your dating money. I've done that.
No,
and not gotten paid back. That's not a good idea.
If you're dating someone and they want your money...
It's a problem.
You should... That's a red flag.
Yeah.
Guys, this has been alarmingly fun.
It has been alarmingly fun.
This is a red flag. How much fun this is.
There's a bull running toward us. The flag is so red.
We should stop because I'm in danger of having too much fun. Please check us out at Pod How to Survive. You know where to find us. We love to hear from you.
Yes.
And eventually, I promise we're going to read your letters.
Yes.
You know what's happening? We're going too long.
We have too much material.
We have too much to say.
But we'll get to them. So please keep them coming. Don't think we won't get to them.
Don't think we don't love them. And if we haven't answered, it's just because we're overwhelmed creating this content for you.
Yes.
We want to make it good. We want it to be quality. Should I stop talking?
No.
Okay. And as always, remain calm.